And then one of the things I always tell them, and I know you've heard this many times, you never know what you can get away with until you try. And I want to tell you a story about Sargent Brown. We were fighting over there one day, and one of my soldiers got hit by an IED and lost both his legs just below the knees. Now, this is a good guy. He had led a lot of operations. He was really, really a hard charger. So as it was to anybody, this was a devastating loss. We sent Sargent Brown to Germany, and we went back to fighting. We kept on. Well, a few weeks later, we were at a different battle. We were doing things, and my sergeant major came up to me. He said, "General Rodeheaver, you got a phone call." I said, "I'm in the middle of a fight. I'm kind of busy. I can't take many phone calls." He said, "Well, this one's Sargent Brown." He said, "It's critical." I said, "Okay." So I got on the phone with him. I said, "Sergeant, how you doing?" He said, Sir, I'm doing great. I am absolutely pumped." I said, "Good. What's going on?" He said, "Well, I found out something today that's going to change my life." I said, "Well, that's great. Tell me what's happening." He said, "Well, I didn't know it, but if you lose both your legs, you get to decide how tall you are." True story. I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Yesterday I was 5'10". Tomorrow I'm going to be 6'1". Now that's a good person with a great attitude. He said, "I have one favor." I said, "What's that?" He said, "I want to come home with the team. I don't want to go from the hospital back home. I want to come home with the team." I said, "Well, we'll see what we can do." So we tried to get the Army to get him out of the hospital and let him come. We were going to land. We were flying. We came back. We flew from Iraq to Germany, and then we were going from there back to Fort Stewart, Georgia, down South Georgia. And the Army said no. Said, "We're not going to let him out. He has to go through the hospital situation. We'll do that." So I put some great soldiers I got. I said, "I want you to fix this. We're going to do this so that the Army doesn't necessarily know what we're doing, but I want him to go home with the team." So they came to me again. My sergeant major, great guy, came to me. He said, "Well, we're doing this, but I need your American Express card for a few minutes." I said, "Oh no." So I said, "Okay, but I don't want to see the bill until later." So he brought it back to me, and we were supposed to land at Ramstein, Germany, and we took off, and then we got a report that Ramstein, Germany airport was fogged in. Now, if you've ever been to Ramstein, they don't have fogged in at Ramstein, Germany. So we had to land at the public airport there. So we had a military flight going into a public airport. We had 149 people on our airplane. So we got there. I said, "Okay, give everybody," and myself, my sergeant major, and my whole team was on there. I said, "Okay, give everybody a break. Let's get them off the plane, get them some fresh air, and do this." And the sergeant major said, "Fine, sir." He said, "Don't worry if some people go missing for a little while." Not worried. So a few minutes later, he came back and said, "Sir, we're ready to go." We put everybody back on the plane. The stewardesses who were there from Delta Airlines, Delta furnished flights back and forth for us, and they were counting heads. And when they start doing that, everybody has to be still. Well, I couldn't get my soldiers, they just kept moving around the plane. They were moving. The stewardess never could get a count. She came back to me, she said, "How many soldiers do you have on the plane?" I said, "I've got 150 total, just like we did when we started." She said, "Okay, I'm fine." We got, bottom line is, they went and got Sargent Brown. They picked him up. They brought him to the airport. They put a uniform on him. They snuck him into the airplane. When we landed at Fort Stewart, we dropped the ramp on the C-130, and he walked off on his new legs at 6'1" with the team. Creative people. Creative people doing creative things to accomplish a mission and build a team where your heart's there. And when people say, "Why did you stay in the Army for 38 years? It's because of that. And that's the reason that you stay with school systems or with GAEL for 30 years or 35 years like you do. It's because you love the team and you love what you do.